All right, welcome back to another episode of Criminals Hate Me. It is the true crime podcast that criminals don't want you to watch. And I'm back with another video that's a viewer request. So this is the second one that Mel McFarr has requested that I'm actually taking action on, okay? And basically, here's her comment here, but she wanted me to check out the documentary about the Heather Rich case. And she was saying that there's a lot of similarities between that case and Noah's case. And if I could do a video making a comparison of the two cases. Okay, so that's what I did here. I've got my notes ready to roll. And that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to compare these two cases. And I'm going to also point out a few differences. But overall, these cases are very similar, except for the main obvious that one of the victims was male and the other victim was female. So of course you're going to have differences when you have male-female, okay, different motives, but there's a lot of similarities, and we're going to point those out. We're going to go over them. And guys, I just want to say one thing here. If you don't like this type of channel that goes over high quality information, okay, I'm not here making cat videos. I'm not here whipping belts around. I'm not here to do whatever they got going on over on that other channel, okay? Psychic readings or healings or whatever kind of crap is going on over there. I don't do all that. I'm here to relay high quality information. And that requires reading a lot of text sometimes to transfer that information to you guys. So if you don't like that kind of channel and you need cat videos or anime cartoons or whatever, or animations to keep you interested, if you have ADD, ADHD, whatever they want to call it, and you can't focus for more than a minute, then this may not be the channel for you. Okay, but this is how I do things on this channel. And last but not least, I am going to be changing the name of this channel, but I'm still trying to get that together. It's hard to just totally delete the name of this channel. I've been going with this for a year. This is my baby. It's my brand name. Okay, so I'm trying to figure it all out. But wouldn't that be something if this Noah Presgrove video is going to be one of my last videos under the Criminals Hate Me brand? It would be so fitting, wouldn't it? So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into all my notes here on this case. So let's jump in with the first similarity for the comparative analysis of the Heather Rich case that happened in 1996 versus the Noah Presgrove case that happened in 2023. Here's the core similarities that I found, okay? So here's the victim profiles for both. Youth and athleticism. Both were popular high school athletes. Heather was a cheerleader. Noah was a multi-sport athlete from small Oklahoma towns. Their social standings. They were both well-liked within their communities and had extensive friend groups. But they both also had a rebellious streak. Both engaged in risky behavior, underage drinking, and parties, which led up to both of their deaths, unfortunately. Both had some family conflict going on, which this is what's reported, okay? Don't come at me saying I'm wrong or whatever. This is what's out there. This is what I found. I did a lot of research. And it says both had recent friction with family members. Heather's was over a phone bill. And Noah, we all know he was emancipated. And it says he had some strained family relations. Okay, I'm not going to dive into what those are, but that's the info that's out there. If it's not true, then don't kill the messenger. I'm just going by the information that millions of people have seen about this case, okay? So that's the victim profile and the similarities. So let's move on. Number 2 is the circumstances leading up to the deaths. Okay, you got the party settings. Both deaths occurred after multi-day parties involving heavy underage drinking in a large group of friends and acquaintances. There was some conflict preceding both of their disappearances. Both were involved in arguments shortly before vanishing. Heather had an argument with her mother. Noah reportedly had an argument with some friends or a girlfriend and then disappeared. Supposedly walked off down the road. The sudden disappearance. Both left the party location unexpectedly and under confusing circumstances late at night / early morning. So they both have that going for them. Very strange similarities. They were both found near water or the road, highway. Bodies were discovered near significant geographical features. Heather in a river and Noah beside a highway. Both were close to the party location. That is very strange, isn't it? I mean, it's almost like you couldn't write these two cases. Like you couldn't make them up. But sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, I guess. Okay, so let's move on. What are the other similarities? Both cases had some investigative challenges. The initial law enforcement dismissal in error. Police initially dismissed Heather's parents' concerns, and law enforcement initially misclassified Noah's death as a hit and run. So both cases have issues with law enforcement's actions and their investigative tactics from the beginning of the case. Very similar. Then you have the suspicious friend behaviors. Key friends in both cases gave inconsistent, rehearsed sounding, or evasive statements. They had changing and aligned stories that raised red flags. Both cases. Physical evidence issues. Lack of immediate, thorough crime scene processing, which you have potential contamination in Noah's case because they didn't process it thoroughly and correctly from the beginning. And then the reliance on confessions over forensics in Heather's case. Very odd there with those, but it is very similar. But it is very interesting that Heather's case took confessions to solve it versus just being based on forensics. Then you have the small town dynamics. Everyone knows everyone in these small towns, and that potentially hindered open information sharing and created pressure on witnesses. We definitely know that that's going on in Noah's case, and everyone's praising Caden that he's the only one that's talked. So hopefully this wrongful death lawsuit will get some other people to talk. They both had OSB involvement. Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation became involved in both complex cases. So that is the investigative challenges that they had in both cases. You know, thankfully Heather's case finally got solved, and hopefully next will be Noah's case. In the last set of circumstances that were similar is the aftermath of the initial law enforcement investigation. You have the family advocacy. Both families actively pushed for answers and criticized the initial investigations. We're definitely seeing that in Noah's case, and I think that's what finally drove his family to file this wrongful death lawsuit. Then you have public scrutiny. Both cases became major local talking points and generated significant public interest and theories. Tons of theories in Noah's case for sure. They both focused on the last scene. Intense focus on the individuals present at the parties and their actions. Definitely that's going on in Noah's case. That's the only thing that we're all looking at is who was at the party and who could have done what. And then they got the Texas boys theory going on, which is trying to take the eyes off of the party host. Those are the similarities in these two cases. They're eerily and hauntingly similar. And it's just very strange that they're almost 30 years apart. Heather's case will be 30 years next year in 2026. Very strange. But now let's get into the critical distinctions in the case dynamics. Heather's case. Classic group dynamic leading to murder. Predatory act by Curtis. Coercion and compliance by Randy and Josh. The motive stemmed from a specific criminal act, which was a sexual act, and a cover-up. Noah's case. The death occurred outside the direct control of the party. The core mystery is how and where the fatal injuries occurred. Friends' behavior suggests fear, confusion, or involvement in a cover-up of events, accident, or could be assault, rather than necessarily the murder itself. So that's what the cover-up is really about. Covering up whether it was an accident or assault. We don't know. And whoever covered up did a great job. They've got all of us confused, right? Then you have the Fight Club and ATV rollover that introduces the potential accidental mechanisms alongside possible assault. So there's so many theories out there. We don't know, but they were talking about a Fight Club. They were talking about an ATV rollover. They were talking about this, that. Avery mad at Noah for sleeping on the floor with Logan. Noah trying to sleep in Avery's bed. She didn't let him. We have all this crazy stuff going on, all these theories. So we don't know. But that is the main core distinctions between Heather's case, is because they had a straight up motive. It was sexually motivated, and they wanted to cover that up. In Noah's case, we still don't know what the motive is. There's a lot of speculation. Hopefully the truth will come out finally, but we just don't know yet. So right now, that's why we got the differences. And here's the conclusion. While both cases involved the tragic deaths of popular young athletes after parties in small Oklahoma towns, plagued by inconsistent friend statements and initial investigative failures, they diverge fundamentally. Heather Rich's case is a solved homicide with a clear chain of criminal acts leading to her murder by acquaintances. So it was very clear what happened to Heather and how it happened and when it happened, etc. And they were able to solve it by getting those suspects to crack and turn on each other and confess. Okay, we don't have that in Noah's case, unfortunately. It's too confusing, and there's not enough evidence, to solve it that way. So Noah Presgrove's case remains an unsolved death with an officially unknown manner. The evidence points away from the initial hit-and-run theory, but lacks conclusive proof of homicide or accident. Remember, I was talking about corpus delicti the other day. There's no proof. And Noah's family can accuse these people all they want of beating him, but you have to have the proof. Okay? They could get awarded monetary judgments, but we really don't know what happened to Noah. If they could convince a jury that that's what they think happened, and there's enough circumstantial evidence. All you got to do is just convince a jury. And the focus in Noah's case is on unexplained injuries, suspicious post-event behavior, potential evidence tampering, and the frustrating lack of a coherent narrative from those last with him. Heather's family found justice through the legal system. Noah's family continues to seek basic answers about what truly happened to their son. So, Heather's family knows what happened and why and how, but Noah's family is still trying to find out. That's why they did the wrongful death lawsuit. And hopefully that will lead to some answers, but these cases are hauntingly similar, eerily similar. You have the cheerleader from Waurika, and you have the multi-sport athlete from Comanche. Two small Oklahoma cities that were very close together, geographically, but cases that are 30 years apart. And like I said, you really couldn't write these cases if you tried. It's very bizarre. But you guys let me know what you think about these two cases. And if you live in Oklahoma, in that area, have you ever put these two cases together before? When you think about Noah's case, has it ever made you think about the Heather Rich case? Have you seen these similarities? And did I leave some out? Which I wasn't trying to get into this case and just list every exact detail. What I wanted to do was give the big overview of the case dynamics and the similarities. But if you think I left something out, then go ahead and put it in the comments, guys. I love the comments. I love it when y'all tell me that I messed up on this or that. And boy, I've been taking a beating on that ginseng hunting mystery case, haven't I? That's been a crazy case, but I've got a hell of a lot of views on that video. Those guys loved it, but some of them hated it, and they try to rip me a new one. But guys, it's what I do. I get people talking, and I appreciate Shane Shoop, the guy that is the neighbor of those brothers. I appreciate him commenting on my channel, and he said that John Ward, the guy that did that first documentary, he's going to be doing another video. So we'll see what they say, and if I feel like I need to do another video to cover that, I will. Alright, but let's remember Noah Presgrove and Heather Rich. Heather's case has been solved. It's very sad what happened to her, and I think that in the next year, 2 or 3, that we're going to find out what in the world happened to Noah Presgrove and why. Why did his friends do what they did to him, and why did they cover up his death? Because we all know that's what happened, but we just got to trust Noah's family and their lawyers to dig in and find out why they did it. So until next time, guys, y'all take care. Let's get some likes and subscribes and some comments, and let's keep this thing going. And we'll see if my next video that I make is going to be under the new channel name. Because like I say, I'm still trying to figure that out. It's not an easy thing to do. It's very difficult to let go of something that I created and that I love. But I know I have to get the channel growing. Because we are in a politically correct world now. And everyone is offended by everything these days. So Travis is now going to have to walk on eggshells, which is something I don't do. But I have to play the game if I want to win. And that's just, it's part of it. So I will comply with what YouTube wants, and I'll get a more PC friendly name going, okay? I'll talk to you guys later.